All right, this is Daniel with FutureMoneyTrends.com. Thanks for joining us today. I'm here with Bradford Cooke. He's the CEO of Endeavor Silver and Canarc Resources. Brad, thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Daniel.
Brad, you have been one of the few mining CEOs to build a company that went from 10 cents to now it's around 10 bucks. You've got 1,300 employees. A lot of people are investing in gold and silver companies. When it comes to finding the right team, what separates you, and what do you attribute your success to with Endeavor Silver?
Well, I think just that, focusing on the people side of the business is absolutely key to success. And when we started Endeavor with two guys, a 10-cent stock and an idea to go and find and mine silver in Mexico, it was initially all about, well, can we find some good properties? But as soon as we arrived at some good properties, we realized that really what we needed was people who knew how to find silver, people who knew how to mine silver, people who knew how to process silver ore. And so that early kind of light comes on, I need to build a team, became our focus for several years. And it still is very much so. I think the challenge of every growing mining company today is to continue growing their management capabilities to match their corporate growth. And so we at Endeavor go through that same exercise every month, every year.
Now, people looking at juniors are going to look at Canarc, might be surprised that you're running it, you're the CEO. They're going to look at the history. So tell us what's been going on with the stock and what is the extent of your involvement in Canarc.
So Canarc Resource Corp was actually my first company. It's a classic gold exploration company founded in 1988. Listed on the Canadian markets at that time, involved in a couple of discoveries in the 1990s. Fell on hard times after the gold market fell out of bed, and then that Bre-X crisis sparked a rush out of the junior mining stocks in the late 90s, and we really just reawakened the company in recent years to get back to work on our main asset. Our largest discovery to date is the new Polaris Gold Mine project in northern BC. And interestingly enough, when I started Endeavor, I had a 10-cent stock with a bright idea, and literally that's where Canarc is today. We have a core asset, we have a core management group, so we've built a team already. We have a 10-cent stock, and we have a bright idea on where to go from here.
Now, when it comes to running a junior gold and silver mining company, where do you see, what is the next step for Canarc? Are you going to be using the same roadmap that you did for Endeavor? Is there going to be a different business model for this company?
So Canarc was a classic explorer with no interest in development or production, and that's how it differed historically from Endeavor. I'm a slow learner, so it took me a while to realize that really what Canarc should do is follow the path laid out for it by Endeavor. And so we have changed the business plan of the company. This is the year that Canarc aggressively tries to pursue the Endeavor path. So we have developed a stepwise plan for the year, and the company at the end of this year should look dramatically different than the company that you see today.
You're obviously heavily involved in the juniors, being a CEO of Endeavor and Canarc. A lot of people are buying gold and silver because they're concerned about inflation. Where do the junior, what is your expectation for junior mining companies, specifically like a Canarc, for the average investor who wants to have some exposure to them? What should they be looking for in a junior mining company? Is there a criteria that maybe an investor might use as a guide? Because let's face it, there are thousands of juniors out there.
There are, and the only way that I know how to differentiate my companies from the pack of competitor companies is to go back to basics. And the basics are core asset, core management team, core strategy, and then execute. So in the case of Endeavor, we've built a silver mining company literally by sitting down every year and asking ourselves, how can we make Endeavor bigger and better for the benefit of our shareholders this year? Can we make the reserves bigger? Can we make the production bigger? Can we get into new discoveries? How's our financial management? Are we ultimately going to issue dividends? Or are we going to use the cash to buy acquisitions? I mean, that process is a iterative and annual process at Endeavor, and fortunately, we've been able to go out every year, say what we're going to do, and then go and do it. And that track record of execution, that track record for 8 consecutive years of making the company bigger and better, has paid our shareholders very, very well. Needless to say, we intend to follow the same strategy for Canarc.
Now, there is a relationship with Canarc you had mentioned in your presentation today, if you want to just expand on that. As far as Canarc was first, of course, as you've already stated, but it's also a shareholder of Endeavour. Is it still to this day a shareholder?
No, but when we started Endeavour, I actually went to my Canarc board and said, look, I think this is a great time to get into the silver business, 2002, 2003. And Canarc's board at the time didn't have an appetite for diversifying the business. We were still in the doldrums in the gold business, so why go off and do something in silver? But when I pointed out that my time wasn't fully employed by Canarc and that I really did want to get started on silver, the board did ask if I could make it so that Canarc could benefit in some way. And so what we did was Canarc became one of the 3 seed shareholders of Endeavour Silver Corp at 10 cents a share.
Now, I love asking mining CEOs. Obviously, you're all in when it comes to the junior miners and the precious metal industry. Are you still buying physical precious metals? Do you accumulate them on a regular basis?
I'm very much a gold and silver bull. I consider myself to be a modest bull, but the short answer is yes, I buy gold and silver.
Do you treat it as a store of wealth and money, or is it really an investment for you?
Even though gold and silver historically have been used as currencies, I don't use it for that. I use it as a storehouse of value. And most people, when they look at rising prices, they think of inflation. Well, it's not that the cost of things is inflating. It's the value of something that's deflating.
Okay.
That something is the dollar.